Peace, everyone. It's BlackHighPriestess. Um, so I'm going live. I'm going live because I felt the need to kind of talk about some things I've been experiencing lately, and as always, put a spiritual perspective on it. And I was really contemplating how to address this issue, and I really think the best way to tackle it from a spiritual perspective is to talk about the Jezebel spirit and how a lot of these behaviors and a lot of the difficulty that I experience and that I believe that a lot of black men, when it comes to dating and marriage, experience when dealing with black women. And this is not to take responsibility off of white people or white women to have spiritual cleanliness and morality. It's really about the fact that when you are uplifting your race and you are pro-black, meaning, you're about the elevation of your race. When you are creating solutions, you have to address the problem. And I want to specifically address black women because I'm disappointed in black women. And while racism is a lot of times just a given, I can honestly say I don't a lot of this nonsense that black women keep as an energy field, a lot of the nonsense that you have to endure when you're dealing with a black woman in any capacity, a lot of it is a lot of it you are not going to find when you are interacting with white women. You're not going to find the level of nonsense when you are interacting with white women. And a lot of that is because the nonsense that the nonsensical behaviors and mindsets and decisions of black women, a lot of it boils down to the fact that black women hate the fact that they're black and they are really trying to act like a white girl. They're putting on an act and they're putting on a show and they're faking and they're playing this character that they believe makes them equivalent to a white girl. And they play this role around black women. Black women play these roles around one another to feel superior to one another because black women are really, really that insecure and really that estranged from innate, inherent, natural femininity that black women are just really have to put on this act, and the only way they know how to act as if they actually are feminine is to behave like an affected white girl, to behave like a racist white girl, to behave like a privileged, pampered white girl. And it's an act, and it's the Jezebel spirit, and it's so easily detected. But from an occult perspective, and just in the mode of teaching you about the occult, about spiritual activity, about demonic activity, and dealing with exorcism, I want black women to really understand racism has not gone away, and it is spiritual too. It is spiritual. Black people, we are dealing with a curse, and we have to deal with each other, and we have to deal with these things. And it is so much easier for us to just deal with white people sometimes. It really is. A lot of times, dealing with a white person's racist ideology is a lot easier than dealing with black people who just genuinely hate being black, who genuinely hate coming from a cursed race and cannot enjoy the beauty and the power of being black, because they really, 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 really just cannot stand who they are. And that is the moment the Jezebel spirit can enter. The moment a person wants to be something else more than they want to be the way God made them. And that also comes with living the life and the path and the destiny that God puts you on, which means black people are born poor, born into poverty, born into broken homes. And a lot of black people are really not able to use their IQ, to have the problem solving skills to accept that reality and live accordingly. And when you live like white people who have money, when you get a little bit of money and you spend it on lavish things that you genuinely cannot afford, when you from poverty need to be saving and operating like a person who comes from poverty. And black people do not want to accept our situation. We want to be the best dancers, be the best athletes, have the biggest asses, and have the best hairstyles and the best music, but we also want to be equal to white people. We want to be better than white people. We want to be able to spend money like white people. We want to be decadent the way we see white people be able to be decadent. We want to act ignorant the way a white person can be ignorant, because their whole world, they can live in a bubble of their own supremacy. We want to behave and think like a European colonizer. We want to spend money like a European colonizer. We want to degrade our women like a European colonizer, but we also want to be the most beautiful and the best at this, the best at that. Black people, we are not God. We are not. Look at how we treat each other. There's nothing godly or divine or holy or king or queenly or royal or regal or sophisticated or aristocratic about the way black people treat each other. And the delusion, the greed, the selfishness, the sinfulness of the black race is, it just piles on itself year after year. And the more black people get from society, the more funding we get, the more marches we are allowed to have, the more we can silence and suppress law enforcement into being afraid to do their job because they're racist, the more we can silence and suppress authority into catering to us and our lowliness and our inferiority and our hatred and our low standards in the name of not being racist. The way we can drag down everything great to the lowest standards that we have in the name of things not being racist. It's despicable. And we are that destructive parasite that we accuse white people of being, our race. And because we don't want to take responsibility for why we're cursed, how we're cursed, anything spiritual, anything deep, God forbid the churches address the curse on black people and how to solve it. Not that some pastors aren't, but the churches ruled by the states are different than a pastor with their own following and their own ministry and in a private, maybe in a public forum, but they're people who are not recognized by the state have more freedom of speech. And so what I'm getting at is the Jezebel spirit in black women really presents itself very obviously amongst, and amongst the black community, when, black women are not white women. People are not equal. People are not equal. The Void Studio, you said, do you feel like this curse can be broken on an individual level? It has to start on an individual level. It must begin on an individual level. And this is why black people are not going to do better. And this is why prophecy is being fulfilled instead of altered through people taking responsibility instead of waiting on Christ. Black people are perfectly fine with Armageddon happening and Christ happening instead of simply doing better. We're okay with letting God destroy things and letting Christ come back in a destructive way instead of doing better and creating paradise here on earth that we very much have within our power to do. And Black people prefer to give into conspiracy theories and blame white power and fear white power and make excuses as to why we don't achieve anything instead of simply living in the greatness that we say we have. You cannot have it both ways. There's not a conspiracy theory of white power structures that is indestructible and indefeatable and oh my God, they're so powerful for so long and all the secrets. You cannot have that and still be the most powerful people, still be genetically superior to the white people and every other race, still be coming from kings and queens of royals. You cannot have it both ways. Either you are the end all be all Black people or you are inferior to the white power structure, but it will not be both ways, and it is not both ways. And the reality of it is Black people are inferior. And I genuinely want to only discuss my experiences in Chicago when talking about this, because I must say Black people are not made, built, bred the same from state to state, from country to country. And at this moment, I really want to express my disappointment in Black women from a perspective of Chicago specifically. And I honestly, I really want to take time to thank the Black women and the Black people who are really the huge exceptions to the rule and who are doing a lot of great things for the community, who have done great things for me. But it's really not the time right now. I really want to address a spiritual issue in the Black community, the Jezebel spirit. And why is it so much more prevalent in Black women and homosexual men? It is the Jezebel spirit, again, uses the nonsensical attitudes, which you're gonna find a lot of. You're gonna find a lot of nonsense, a lot of lack of logic, a lot of hyper emotive, emotional narcissism in the female perspective, in feminism. The Jezebel spirit. One thing Jezebel spirit does is it breaks up homes. The first easiest way to break up a home is to get the man out or eliminate masculinity, which is the structure. The moment you elevate the female above the man, that is the first sign of the Jezebel spirit, because the Jezebel spirit hates family. And so if you guys are looking at the bigger picture, some people already understand where this is going, but to start with the Jezebel spirit in Black women, you got to look at what the Jezebel spirit feeds off of. The Jezebel spirit feeds off of ego, pride, narcissism. The Jezebel spirit feeds off of breaking up families. And the Jezebel spirit, another way to recognize the Jezebel spirit is pedophilia. And just start taking pedophilia and talking about that from starting with the perspective of obsession with youth, obsession with being young. Start there. Then take an obsession with being young, and turn that and take that to the next level of taking youth, taking what's young and making it an adult, or giving it adult privileges, adult responsibilities, meaning taking an adult, so to speak, and giving them the mentality of being young while actually being an adult and having adult responsibilities, and then also looking at a child because you think like a child, not recognizing the difference between a child and an adult, and making a child think like an adult, behave like an adult, which leads to sexual activity like an adult, even though they're not even developed enough hormonally to understand what sex is necessary for. But making them, and this deals with putting makeup on girls under the age of 10, let's say. A girl under the age of 10, even 12, I would even go so far as to say, before a girl has her menstrual, does she really need to wear makeup and cosmetics? In a society like America, where we are really a pedophilia society, we are obsessed with youth, and we we equate beauty to youth, not actual beauty, but just being young. That's pedophilia. And how does that relate to the Jezebel spirit? Where, well, again, being obsessed with being young, obsession with the youth, giving the youth adult responsibilities, putting makeup on a little girl. The makeup is has the purpose of attracting and creating sexual arousal in a man. And it has the purpose of manipulating. It has the purpose of creating beauty or enhancing your beauty. Why would you need to enhance your beauty? It is for a sexual purpose. It is intentionally used to attract a mate, which is sexual. This is what I'm saying. Putting makeup on a girl, it's a form of pedophilia. Um, we do it with boys in a lot of ways, but that's the quickest example I have. And then moving on to the next phase of, now that we have given a child adult responsibilities or adult rights, now it's okay to actually openly sexualize a child that is underage, premenstrual, pre-adolescent, what have you. And that's a way to recognize the Jezebel spirit. And why is that so important? The behavior of the black race, the inability to grow up, the inability to take accountability. It's a mental sickness. It's mental. It's that mindset of, I'm forever young. I want someone else to take responsibility. I'm a child. It is also present in women. Women love to act like children, like little girls. Women love to put on this act like, I'm so innocent or I'm so helpless. And what it is the Jezebel spirit influencing a grown woman to behave in a way that creates division. A grown woman, namely a wife and a mother, does not need to behave like a demon possessed, at that, little girl. You do not have to act and behave and think like a little girl and put all the responsibility on your husband, on someone else, because you're too busy behaving like the child in the household. And that is something that you see a lot in black women in their relationships with people and their relationships with men. A lot of times when someone is dealing with this Jezebel spirit, she breaks up homes by taking the mindset of an adult, taking the mindset of an adult, and making the adults in the household, the parents, behave like children. That is a sign of the Jezebel spirit. And there's a lot that goes into the pedophilia, but that's something that the Jezebel spirit uses. The Jezebel spirit wants to break up homes, creates pedophilia, and creates feminism. And this is something you're going to find a lot of times when you're dealing with black women who are hosting this Jezebel spirit. And it is so hard um to get, and you're going to find it in black men who are homosexual, who are hosting this Jezebel spirit. Anyone who's a fan of Beyonce right now at this point in time, when we're dealing with the beehive energy, the false Oshun energy, the Jezebel spirit energy, the Queen of Heaven, all these things are synchronized. Like you said, the void, you never synchronize that with pedophilia. I did say a lot, so you can tell me exactly which part. Maybe I can elaborate on it. But right now, one of the quickest ways is to recognize, is someone obsessed with Beyonce? Are they obsessed with being worshipped like Beyonce? Are they obsessed with being part of this cult of female empowerment? And because what you're also going to see is what comes with an obsession with Beyonce, or an obsession with being part of this cult following, being part of you know being part of some of a movement, of being part of elevating the woman so much, and being part of worshiping femininity and worshiping, what you're gonna and that's what Jezebel does. Jezebel manipulates and convinces women into believing that she is more important than the man, that she's more important than the children, that she's more important than the marriage, and that she's more important than the career that is sustaining your lifestyle. You don't work, you don't eat. And this idea of I'm Beyonce, this idea of I'm the center of attention, I'm the end all be all, I'm the most valuable thing around, that level of narcissism, you're going to find that a lot of these black women, they're going to get along more with homosexual men, because real masculine men are not really aroused by false womanhood, by false femininity. And the Jezebel spirit, it's going to encourage you to go blonde, to lighten your hair, or to lighten your skin as a black woman. It's going to encourage you to straighten your hair, to create an image that you are weaker than other women, that you are more innocent, that you are more brighter than other women, and that you are to be worshiped because of your lifestyle. And what happens is black women start to take on this persona of everyone is jealous of me, and if they're not jealous of me, they should be. That's a Jezebel spirit. And when you notice that a black woman can only relate to you if she believes that you're jealous of her, meaning this is something that I know. Some A way to detect the Jezebel activity in some of these sisters is she she wants you to be jealous of who she is, especially and more so if she notices that you're okay with who you are. You're a black woman who's okay with having kinky hair. You don't need perm or to straighten your hair or to lighten your hair. You're a woman who's okay with the fact that your hair is gray, or the fact that your hair is short. You're not going out of your way to fit a societal standard, and she goes out of her way to fit a societal standard of beauty. She's going to somehow, and she's not going to recognize it. A lot of times it's going to come from a spiritual possessed place, it's going to come from a subconscious place, it's going to come from, she's going to be put on an act, and you're going to see it. A lot of these women, they're not being themselves. You could see when the spirit takes over them, and the spirit takes over them the moment she recognizes you're of God, the moment she recognizes you're a black woman who's okay with your hair, with your skin, with your age, with your status, meaning if you're married, if you're single, if you're a baby mama, if you're child free, whatever have you, you're okay with it, and you're not trying to be something you're not, and you're not trying to prove anything to anyone. That's when you're going to see a spirit take over her. Why is that spirit taking over these black women who are in your midst, who are in your vicinity? Why are black women so easily possessed by the Jezebel spirit? Demons, demonic activity happens through the weakest link. And this is why I'm saying black women, black people are very weak. Black people are very, very insecure, very weak. And I'm not speaking for all of us, but what you were going to see in Chicago, you're going to see a lot of demonic activity in a place like this, where people, where it's all about greed and hating on each other and getting ahead and getting just enough to feel better than the next person. But it's never about actual accountability and growing, so everything around you really grows. Black people here litter, they throw garbage around. They have no respect for themselves or authority or anyone else. Um and I, getting back to the subject, when the moment you present being of God and being okay with yourself, and a level of humility and a level of, you know that your wealth comes from your spiritual power, your wealth comes from your connection to your God, your wealth comes from the ancestral power that's running through your veins, that you can wield at any moment. You don't need to flaunt around your car, your marriage, your career, or how much you make, or or how many people how many people you can sleep with, or that you have slept with, or that you could sleep with if you wanted to, you know what I'm saying, or how many gifts you get, or how this, or how great your family is. You know, a lot, when you are okay with yourself, you're going to see the people around you start to attack your confidence. And it comes in the form of people trying to flaunt or brag, or trying to intentionally make you jealous of what they have, or of what someone else has. Namely, for example, oh, you know, Beyonce has a suppose okay, let's say Beyonce has a lot of money. Let's say your friend, um, you know, she she's shallow. She may she may behave like Beyonce, but she knows she doesn't actually have the same amount of money as Beyonce. But she wants you to, she wants you to relate to that. You're okay with the fact that you have to work. You're okay with how much money you have. You're okay with, the fact that you're not rich and famous. It's okay. And you're okay with pursuing your goals, but now all of a sudden she wants to talk about, you know, how great the concert was, and this and that, and I don't know how else to say, like, all of a sudden she wants to talk about things that are important to her, but she wants to trying to make you feel inadequate for not having those things. She wants to make you feel jealous, feel like you need to have enough money to go on vacation every week like an influencer. Uh, you know, have enough money to get your hair done and your nails done every week, even though you know how to do your own hair. And you don't need to pay another angry black woman who's full of self-hatred and demons an exorbitant amount of money to make you look like a white girl. And you got to understand, there's a lot of black women who the only way they can relate to another black woman is to make sure that she's on some Jezebel frequency of, do you hate yourself? Are you insecure? Are you validated by a man? And moving on, this is the main thing that I've been very, very disappointed in black women, to where I want to talk about how the Jezebel spirit responsible for this. You black women are becoming worse than how the white woman has now become the independent woman, to where she has fought for her freedom, and she's gotten a lot of, and trust me, the white woman has a form of Jezebel too. A lot of these white women hate white men, and that's Jezebel possession. A lot of these white women with black men, and they're divorcing their husbands to sleep with black men. That's a form of Jezebel possession in white women. White women experience the Jezebel spirit in a very different way. But I will say, like, a lot of white women have taken on the inner strength to understand and to get the self-worth to now know that they're not validated by a man. And yes, have they taken it to the extreme of being angry and being feminist and picketing with pink hair and all this weird stuff? Yes, that's Jezebel possession. But black women, you used to be the catalyst of femininity. You used to be a standard of an independent woman, of a woman's divine strength and divine femininity, and her ability to survive without a man. Not It was never about hating a man. It was always about our ability to survive without a man, to flourish in the absence of our men when our men were taken away intentionally. It was about the black woman's ability to love herself against all the standards set against her beauty. And black women used to be recognized, and black women used to set a standard of self-love. because black women wore afros instead of conforming to look like a white woman or covering up her hair. Or, black women used to be praised for not being under a man's thumb and demanding respect from a man in a way that a lot of white women were not taught to do and did not have the freedom to do because of her privileged circumstances. And that was something that other races of women and other races of men and our own men, namely, genuinely admired about black women. Our ability to be equal to a man, our ability to love ourselves and love our beauty, and not put up with being demeaned or disrespected. And now black women have become the number one race of women who needs validation from a man, who who are genuinely validated by a man giving them attention, by a man giving them money, by a man giving them a wedding ring, by a man giving them a baby or a marriage. Black women now are the weakest women out here. Black women now have become the weakest women who genuinely, everything about her value is in whether or not she has been picked by a man. And I am so disappointed in what I personally have seen in black women in this last week or two, especially in Chicago. I am extremely disgusted in the level of black of insecurity of the black women around me, that I have given a chance to show me who you are and why I should invest in a friendship. And I am genuinely disgusted and genuinely disappointed at how easily influenced by Jezebel some of you black women are, and you become, and you put on this act and you take on this demonic spirit when you recognize a woman who like, I will never have to prove anything to anyone, because I cannot even begin to tell you all my life how many people tell me I am the most beautiful woman they have ever seen. And they don't always say you're the most beautiful black woman. Most of the time, they just say you are the most beautiful woman. And a lot of times, it will happen while they see me working, while they see me in the service industry, giving service to other people, working a job that was considered servitude and slavery and indentured servitude. They're telling me I'm beautiful while they're seeing me behave beautifully as well. And they are so in awe. I will never have to sit around and converse with a female who I'm trying to develop a deeper connection with and a friendship with and trust and loyalty with as a friend. I will never have to sit there and explain to you how beautiful I am, and because I get that validation all the time, but more so, I already know it. I already know it. And it's never going to have to become a subject. But the level of the fact that you black women, you can't talk about anything but men. You don't know how to even ask another sister questions to get to know her, because you are so busy convincing her that either you're better than her somehow, convincing her that you're happy because you have a husband, that you're happy because you just went on vacation. You're so busy convincing her that you are so better, and that you are such a movie star and a rock star, that you don't even take the time to ask her anything about herself, to get to know her, because you're so afraid of wondering, gee, what makes you so confident that you don't want to straighten your hair or dye your hair blonde, or that you don't need to lighten your skin, that you don't feel that you need to lighten your skin to get a man. And if you guys don't think that black women, and honestly, that most black women are still lightening their skin, some of y'all are still single doing it. because you really just, no matter how light or dark your skin is, your features are not above average. You're not attractive. And your attitude makes you even less so. But if you guys don't really believe black women out here are lightening their skin, perming their hair, still straightening their hair, and you got to understand, it's symbolic of Jezebel. And it's very difficult to try to relate on a real sisterhood level to women who are possessed by Jezebel. And the level of the fact that you black women, really, some of y'all can't even have a conversation about anything that's not about you or not about a man. Y'all can't do it. Y'all can't talk about anything that doesn't have to do with you. You can't talk about camping. You can't talk about world history. You can't have a political discussion without getting offended at someone who may have a different perspective than you. And a lot of you black women, you don't think for yourselves. You just jump on a feminist bandwagon, and if you're not a Beyonce lover and a Kamala Harris supporter, and have a bunch of gay male friends who validate you, because again, having gay male friends is a form of male validation that a lot of black women need. That's why these black women, these Beyonce, like, you have these gay black male friends because you need male validation. But the moment you have to relate to another black woman who really loves herself, who's okay with herself, who does not need, there's a lot of black women who you don't even know they're married because it's not part of their identity, and they don't have to create this sense of superiority over another black woman of my husband this and my husband that and all this that, because they can relate to another woman based on we're both black women. But a lot of black women are not living in their blackness. They're living in the Jezebel spirit of I am better than other black women. And I'm going to relate to black women off the premise of, if you don't worship me, if you're not jealous of me somehow, we're a lot of black women can only be friends and are so used to being around women who are so shallow, and so used to being around women who only congregate to worship Beyonce, to worship, and what I mean by that is worship Jezebel, to praise themselves for being lighter skinned, for being married, for for getting together and doing their hair and doing their nails and being as superficial as you could possibly be. And we are better than other women, and this is what we do, and this is what we celebrate. And the moment it's time to talk about anything other than a man or yourself, you sisters can't have a conversation. You don't even know how to get to know someone else. And I understand why black men don't want to date black women, because I'm talking about Chicago again with my experiences. And um don't get me wrong, I could do a whole upload of beautiful black women who none of this applies to, upstanding black men who prefer beautiful natural black women who are really spiritual and not Jezebel possessed spiritual. And this is the other thing about you Jezebel possessed black women. Not only is everything about male validation, like here, and this is the thing, you a lot of you black women, you want your friends to be jealous of your relationship, because some of you black women are so scarred from hanging around from having Jezebel possessed friends, that you now believe that every black woman wants what you have, that every black woman is superficial and is only friends with you to take something from you. You now don't know how to recognize a genuine womanhood in another sister. And so you really believe, and you want to believe that black women want what you have. and you want to it's like you got to make sure that this sister wants what you have, because you can't be friends with her unless you feel superior to her, and you don't feel superior to her unless you know she's jealous and you know she wants something you have. And this is how you black women are, and this is why black female friendships are strained, because you black women hate yourselves, and you are some of the most superficial weak women in this here in Chicago. And I don't have to go through this with white women. I could have a conversation about anything with a white woman. And then a lot of white women will genuinely, with really utmost respect, ask what it's like to be black. What are your experiences with men? What is it like to live on the side of town that you live on? You know what I'm saying? And it'll be out of respect, but they're actually trying to get to know me. They're, instead of making an assumption and making a racist assumption, they're taking the opportunity to get to know an awesome woman who just happens to be black, and they're taking the opportunity to expand their horizons. You black women will not do that. You black women won't do that. And the fact that black women from all over the world, and people of all races and ages and sexes from all over the world will go on my website and book a reading and pay me over $100 an hour as a perfect stranger, because they have enough respect for me, who I am, and my psychic abilities. And the fact that you black women will be sitting 2 feet from me, from the most powerful woman in the world, from one of the most powerful psychics you will ever know, and you will still refuse to ask me a genuine question. And you all you a lot of you black women, you gotta you wanna you this is another way to recognize the Jezebel spirit in these black women. You black women want to act spiritual and talk about astrology and talk about pseudo spirituality, but you don't talk about demonic possession. You don't talk about demons. You don't talk about demonic sexual activity. You want to be so spiritual, but you never want to talk about the mistakes you made and how you grew spiritually and fought off your actual demons. You always want to ask someone what their sign is, or and then when I tell you to guess, you guys be so far off, which shows you know absolutely nothing about zodiac and nothing about astrology. You just know that asking what someone's sign is makes you look like you're spiritual, and none of you black women are not spiritual. You're demon possessed. There's a difference. You all cannot heal anyone. A lot of you black women, you bring turmoil to people's lives, and you, because you can't exercise your demons, because you won't do better, because you won't hold yourself accountable for really having femininity, and you think because somebody married you or because somebody got you pregnant and you became a mother, you know what I'm saying, or because somebody hired you, you all really you really you surround you all you black women really get validation from other people. You don't have any genuine self-worth. And it used to be white women who were empty and had no substance other than the fact that she was married and had kids and her husband had a great job. And the level of emptiness of you black women who really feel like you really won the lottery because a man validated you. And I think some of you black women, you flaunt the fact that you have a husband, because deep down inside you know no one wants your husband. You know that a single black woman has more opportunity to find a man who makes a lot more money, who's probably healthier, probably more handsome. And genuinely, a lot of you black women, no one wants your husband because your husband likes women like you. And black women who are secure with ourselves, we're not interested in men who are not interested in us. Your husbands become interested in women who are different. We are not interested in your husbands. Men who like superficial women, men who like empty women, men who like Jezebel possessed women who treat husbands like trash and treat men like slaves, and women who behave like little girls, like little innocent girls who can't take responsibility for anything. and who don't have to take responsibility for anything because someone else will do it for me. My husband will take care of it. My brother will take care of it. My mother will take care of it. My best friends that I bring all of my drama and trauma to, they'll show up and take care of it. And you black women, y'all be a circus. Y'all are like a fucking circus. And there's no real substance to you all. It's all drama and circus and show and putting on an act. And the moment it's time to have a real conversation, you all can't do it. And then you'll get mad at somebody for even asking you a question like, oh, is that your real hair? Then you want to cop an attitude. Or, are you happy in your marriage? Then now the marriage that you want someone to be so jealous of, now all of a sudden you don't want to talk about your husband. Now all of a sudden you don't want to talk about that. Now all of a sudden you want to talk about what it's like to be single and how awesome it is to be able to sleep with because a lot of you married women, you want someone this is the sign. Jezebel likes to break up homes. So when a woman is trying to make you jealous of what she has, she's probably not happy with what she has. She's probably jealous of what you have, and she needs validation. So she wants to see, do you want to be like me? And a woman who needs to pick at you to see if you want to be like her, there's no doubt there's something about you she wants to be like. She either is jealous of your natural look, she's jealous of your freedom. And you have freedom if you are child free, and you have freedom if you are single. You have freedom. A lot of people are not happy in their marriage. And don't get me wrong, marriage is a goal and marriage is a beautiful thing. But do not let somebody try to belittle you because you are not yet married. This goes for men too. Men, if you are over the age of 40, even pushing 50, or beyond, and you're still not married and still don't have kids, you are the cream of the crop. You are not something that, to be questioned and to be discarded. Yes, some of you all got issues, but a lot of you all, you did not marry the first woman with a big butt. You did not marry the first woman who lightened her skin, and you did not marry the first woman who validated your manhood by how superficial she was, and now you're with a Jezebel possessed narcissist. And now you can't get out of your marriage, and you got some Jezebel woman dragging you around through life like a slave. It's better to be pushing 50 and single and no kids and being able to have the freedom to choose. And a lot of I'm not advocating it. I'm not advocating it. I'm just letting you all know, when you have more spiritual power, it can be harder to find a partner if you're not in the right environment. In a place like Chicago, I gotta tell you, people here are trash. Like, this is not really a great environment to really for a person who's genuinely spiritual to find a partner, to make friends, to even find the best career or to flourish in your career. Chicago is not a place where spirituality necessarily flourishes. And people, I'm not going to say it's the most superficial place, but I will say I'm speaking for my experiences with Black people directly here, because I have great experiences with a lot of Black people here, but a lot of times they're from Africa. A lot of times they're from a different part of Illinois. A lot of times they're implants. A lot of times they were born, maybe raised somewhere outside of Chicago, and they came here. And I mean that to say, a lot of people from Chicago don't think I'm from Chicago. And I guess what I'm expressing too is, this is just a side note, why I'm only speaking from Chicago, because being in Chicago, Not being from Chicago. Being from Chicago is a huge flex, but me being in Chicago has hindered my success greatly, and I genuinely believe that, and I know that because of the type of people I meet. You don't meet anyone of value and substance who can help you, who wants to help you. And I'm not saying that I have not gotten help. I'm saying Chicago, a prophet never goes without honor except in their hometown. And I want to take this opportunity to help people recognize Jezebel activity, especially for black women who are seeking female friendships, for black women who are recognizing the importance of friendship. I don't want you black women to put up with the same nonsense and BS and abuse that you put up with from black men trying to be in a relationship, looking for a healthy relationship with a black man. Don't put up with it from black women. I know a lot of us are seeking healthy female friendships. We're seeking healthy sisterhood. But I'm telling you right now, a lot of black women are not healthy. A lot of black women are not healthy enough to be in relationships. They don't have a healthy relationship with who they are. And a lot of it is subconscious. And you got to recognize you don't waste your time trying to befriend somebody when it's really a Jezebel spirit. There's no stardom to these women. There's no real stardom, there's no real class, and these women are not living a soft life. They are in a delusion. And the Jezebel spirit will make a woman delusional about her worth and about the lifestyle, and she'll start to take on this character of being a princess, or being a little acting like a little child, like a little girl, or I'm or just they'll take on this narcissism. They will take on a narcissistic attitude, like, I'm so great, everyone's serving me, I don't have to work so hard, I don't have to do anything, and everything just comes to me, and everything's so great. And and all it boils down to is this: I'm living a soft life, I'm better than other women because I can create slaves. I have a husband who's a slave who does everything for me, so I'm living a soft life. I have children who are my slaves who do everything for me and make my life so great, so I'm living a soft life. I have this great job, or I do this, or I prostitute, and I'm an escort, and I have all these men who love me that are so great, that do all these things for me, and I'm living a soft life. And what it is black women are acting like they know what it's like to be a white girl. They're acting like they know what it's like to have privilege, and it's an act. These women go to work. These women have had to wipe their children's diapers. These women have to raise their children sometimes on their own. These women have been cheated on. Their men are not their personal slaves. They have been cheated on, some beat on, just like other women who take men for granted, and think that they're better than men, and think that they are manipulating the man when he can really do whatever he wants. Recognize this Jezebel spirit, and a lot of black women are creating this. A lot of black women are not coping with how bad the economy is, are not coping with how bad black people have become, and how hard it is to be a business owner, how hard it is to be a solution to the black race, how hard it is to be that black woman living in womanhood, who actually elevates other black women, who actually takes time to befriend other black women, to check on other black women to see if you're okay. Let me support your business. Let me promote your business. Let me support you in what you're doing. Let me support your marriage and encourage you in your marriage instead of encouraging drama. Let me be that black woman who takes responsibility for being beautiful and exuding beauty, and not promoting self-hatred in the way I look and the way I behave, and what I worship. not promoting self-hatred and what I worship and who I worship and what I spend my money on. Um, you know, a lot, the Jezebel spirit does not, it takes accountability away. And when accountability is taken away from an adult mindset, that's when marriages fail. That's when relationships between parents and children fail. Parents trying to act too young and trying to act more like the child and making the child behave like the parent, making the child be more responsible because the parent's so narcissistic they want to act and behave like a little child, like a little girl. And then your daughter has to behave like the adult in the situation, or your son has to behave like he's your husband to the point where don't a woman want him. That's another subject. Let me not get on that subject. Let me stay on the subject of Jezebel activation in the black woman. This is why it has become nearly impossible for black women to form female friendships, and for black women to maintain female friendships when black women are genuinely on health journeys. Black women are genuinely on weight loss journeys. And it's not about losing the weight. It's about losing the addiction to food and losing the things that trigger you to medicate with food. That goes for drugs, that goes for alcohol, that goes for sex. Just because you can see obesity, just because you can see a person's food addiction, doesn't mean other people who do not have obesity are not suffering from addictions that you cannot see on them physically. You can tell if someone smokes, or you can kind of tell if someone drinks too much, or you can tell, certain things. But there's a lot of there's addictions that people are suffering from that you can't see physically. There are most black men are suffering from sex addiction because every time something goes wrong, they have to take it out on a woman. They have to find some woman to validate his worth by going out and sleeping with a random woman that he has no intention of loving or taking care of. And most black men use sex as a weapon, as a way of validation. They're addicted to getting someone to sleep with him because he goes out into the world and he can't cope with the fact that white men can get more and get further in life than he can. He takes it out on women. But a lot of black women are not coping with a lot of things, and it's affecting female relationships because a lot of there are black women who are taking responsibility for being a business owner, for how their business runs. They're doing everything they can do, and they need their friends to show up. They need their friends to show up. They need their friends to be they need healthy friends. And I'm letting you know right now, black women, we need healthy friends. And a lot of you black women, you're gonna get left behind because you're not willing to become healthy. You're not willing to really do the work as an individual to where you could step out and meet other black women who are doing the work as individuals, and when they're showing up and they're selling their products, or they're encouraging other women, or they're offering genuine friendship. Like, shout out to you sisters who have offered genuine friendship and you have not been petty about it. Like, there's some great sisters out here who have not been petty about, oh, I'm just gonna, well, I don't wear natural hair, but you do, and this, that, you know what I'm saying? There's a lot of women who are not petty. They just see another black woman struggling, doing her best, trying to do her best. They admire it and they're offering friendship. That's sisterhood. But you black women who have to make everything about how many men validate you and how much you put into your beauty and how soft of a life you are living or trying to live. If you think that other black women are going to relate to you off of worshiping you, and because you're so used to gay men who listen to Beyonce hanging around you and making you feel like you're so great because you make them feel like they're so great, and y'all are just a bunch of superficial people who worship Beyonce and make each other feel so great for being part of a beehive, being part of a cult culture that is superficial and narcissistic. And I'm letting you know right now, black women, if you do not let go of your Jezebel spirit, if you do not let go of Jezebel and start really relating to black women and relating to yourself as a black woman and stop trying to act like a white girl. You are not a white girl. You do not come from royalty. A lot of you black women, you're trying too hard to prove that you're feminine. And that lets me know you don't know white people like that. You wouldn't even begin to know how to act like a white girl. And I don't have to prove to you how close I am. Like, I don't have to prove to you that I was raised by white people. I don't have to prove what being white is about. The fact that you all constantly call me white girl and this and that, I don't have nothing to prove to y'all. But I need you black women to know how bad and how stupid and how absurd you all look when you're trying to act like white women. When you're trying to when you're putting on this act that you think makes you more like a white woman. That this act as if you come from privilege, and none of you all do. You are a black woman. And you're not going to relate to black women who are okay with being black women. If you let Jezebel keep putting a rift between your ability to relate to women of your own race, because you know what? White, you're not fooling white women and you're not fooling white men. And I'm letting you know right now, you're not fooling black men. Just because a black man will sleep with you in your demon possession does not mean you're fooling black men. It's sad to see so many of you black women without having that husband that no one else wants. You would not be able to go out into this world in your own merit, on your own femininity, and make genuine friends, get a man attracted to you, get a job. You would not be able to do these things on your own without the validation you already have. You wouldn't be able to do it. So you're not better than somebody because you got chosen. You're not better than someone. People who are chosen by a higher, people who have genuine power, we don't get our validation from someone telling us you got the job. We don't get our validation from a man hollering at us or asking us to marry him. We don't get our validation from our husbands. We don't need to flaunt around being married or whatever. There's so many women who you don't know they're married because and you love them and admire them and you find out they're married, and then you're like, wow, this is a really awesome woman because she did not have to make herself her worth about the fact that some man married her and got her pregnant, as if that made her special. There's nothing more beautiful than a woman who you meet and you admire and she's got all these things going for her, or her business and her brand or whatever she's about is so beautiful and beneficial to you, and then you find out she's also married, she's also a mother who's happy being a mother, but she didn't let that be her identity. Black women, be careful of these black women out here who genuinely need validation from a man. She's not qualified to be your friend. Be careful of women like that, because be careful of a woman who you buddy with you and she want to talk with you and this and that and get to know all this, and everything, and then the moment a man comes around, she's going to be ready to fight you. The moment you get more attention than she does, she's going to be ready to fight you. You got to recognize how black women are. This is how black women are. And this myth of sisterhood, you got to be careful about these black women, because they'll act like sisterhood when it benefits them. But the moment she can choose between getting a man to validate her and getting another black woman to validate her, she's going to choose validation from a man. She does not want friendship. These black women out here don't want friendship, and these black women out here, they don't want marriage. And I really feel bad for a lot of black men, because I come down on black men very hard about their dating habits and their behaviors and stuff, and I recognize why a lot of black men do not and cannot and will not date black women, and I recognize why a lot of black men look for side pieces, or they develop um affairs and intimacies with women on the side, because they are married to women who are narcissistic and who have no regard for the fact that that's her husband. She looks at a black man as her personal slave and her way to validate, but she has no care to nurture this black man. And a lot of black men can get respect and nurturing from women of other races who don't have to act feminine. They genuinely, innately grew up with femininity. They innately have it within them. And some of these women did not come from privilege, even though they are not black. They still struggled. Femininity doesn't it doesn't you don't have to have a white mother or a rich mother or a mother who was taken care of by her husband to know femininity. A lot of these women are the a lot of women who are stay-at-home moms are some of the least feminine women you'll ever meet. I've met women who stay at home and they don't work, and their husband does everything, their black husband does everything, and every time they left the house they would be getting into a fight because she could not relate to other women. She could not go outside of the house and simply make a purchase at a store, at a coffee shop, at a gas station without getting into a fight with another female. Because that's how these women who have all this validation from the fact that they got a husband, that's how they behave. They can't relate to other women. They can't relate to other women who are simply have womanhood. They act like little girls who believes that I have to fight with you because I have to compete with other women. And this is how a lot and this is the problem with a lot of you black women. You're not looking for friendship. You automatically see another black woman and you automatically are competing. Even if you're putting on the act of sisterhood, you all are subconsciously competing with your black female friend. You're not competing with the white girls. You don't compete with white women. You compete with other black women. You see another black woman and you want to act like you have sisterhood and act like, oh yeah, I'm gonna recognize another black woman, but you're not. You're competing. And the problem with you black women is you cannot compete with me. You know anything about me to think that you are gonna compete with me. Number one, stop trying to compete, because you are not gonna do the white girl better. You're not gonna do the white girl thing better than me. You're not. You a lot of you black women, you're trying to compete with a level of femininity that you have never ever came in contact with. And it's weird to watch it. It's weird to watch how you black women act when you're confronted with real femininity in another black woman. You don't show sisterhood. You black women start to act like slave masters. When you see another free black woman, you start to act like a slave master, and then that's when you start to, you know, slap around these subjects to try and demean her. You slap around your little subjects that you want to talk about to try and dominate the conversation to make it about how great you are because of what you have. And you want to avoid any subject that talks about how great she is. I see this shit all the time. And I don't know. Like, sisters, comment if you understand what I'm talking about. The Jezebel energy in black women, like all these subjects I talked about, the pedophilia, the childish behavior, the acting like a little girl, the acting like a damsel in distress, the acting like you so many men validate you and do things for you, you know what I'm saying, just acting like the white girl, You know what I'm saying? Um, Acting like men are expendable and acting like men are important, excessively relating to homosexual men, excessively worshiping Beyonce, excessive feminism, and excessive narcissism. Have you all noticed this in black female friendships? Have you noticed you outgrowing some friendships because your friend is taking on a demonic spirit instead of growing as a woman as you get older or as you mature? Have you noticed black women becoming delusional? Have you noticed black women choosing to live in a delusion instead of facing the reality? Instead of facing the reality of her health, of her income, of her status. Have you noticed black women becoming delusional and thinking that things are just going to fall into her lap by her waving a magic wand, by her saying a manifestation? Have y'all noticed this? That black women think things are just going to fall into their lap by her saying a positive affirmation and lighting an incense and lighting a candle and thinking positive? That's another form of Jezebel. The you know Black women believing that all of a sudden you're not gonna suffer as a black woman. All of a sudden racism is gonna be gone. All of a sudden, you're gonna get married overnight and someone's gonna take care of you the way every all these other black women who have to work in their marriage and have the responsibility of a husband are trying to convince you that they're better than you because now they have to drag around a man they have to make sure everywhere they go he's not looking at the next woman, as if you want that problem. No woman happy in her marriage, no woman who really has a man who's really valuable goes around flaunting him. That's why these awesome women who they do have awesome husbands who they actually love and respect, they're not bragging about him, they're not talking about him. And a lot of times they're not letting people know they're married because these women are smart enough to know that men put a rift in female friendships. And the more she approaches a female friendship through the lens of being validated by a man, the more of a rift she's going to put between her relating to another woman. Another woman. Women are we're not here. We don't relate off of the premise of, oh, we both got a man to validate us. We relate because we know what it's like to go to work and get paid less, and we know what it's like to go to work and have to deal with the white girls doing their white girl thing and us being treated less and us having to do more. We know what it's like to get dogged by black men because we're black women, because we're not white. Those are the things that we relate to. So if you as a black woman, if you're trying to relate to another black woman off the premise that your life is so privileged and your life is so easy and I'm better than you and I'm what you're trying to achieve, if that's how you think you're going to relate to another black woman, you need an exorcism. Because white women don't do this to other black women. White women are not trying to relate to the black women off of the premise of I'm better than you. Like white women are really more down to earth. And a lot of you black women, like, what is wrong with y'all? I really got it. What is wrong with y'all? And I know what's wrong with y'all. The sprinkle sprinkle movement has convinced you guys that you deserve more than what another woman has. The you know, Kevin Samuels came out and told women how men think and how men feel. Not all men, but Kevin Samuels came and started telling women, especially black women, the truth about themselves. And now black women are scrambling to act like you are high value and are scrambling to be part of this high value woman category. So you're acting like what you think a white girl acts like around other black women because you're scrambling to convince other black women that you're more high value than her. Because I know what's going on with you black women. You watching too much social media. and you're trying to relate to black women off of the premise of I'm a high value woman and you're a high value, and so we got to be high value women together, but I got to make sure I'm a high value woman by competing with you, comparing myself to you. Black women, that's not friendship. Friendship is asking someone how their day is going, calling them to check on them to see how their day's going, how is work going, did anything upset you this week, what can I do to help? When do you want to hang out? When do you want to get drinks together? When do you want to catch happy hour? When do you want to catch a movie and talk about, you don't have to always go on dates with men, so to speak. You don't always have to do something like going to see a movie or going to dinner or whatever with your boyfriend or your husband. You can have intimate, you can go bowling with your friend. You can do an activity with your female friend and bond with your female friend and get to know your female friend and build trust. And what happens is Jezebel interferes with relationships, and relationships involve trust. And a lot of you black women, you're afraid to trust. You've been so scarred by experiencing so many jealous black women and so many ugly on the inside black women. You don't know how to trust. You don't want to trust. And so everything is about having the upper hand, or you know what I'm saying. And some sisters, you want to buy friendship. Some sisters, you do too much for other people because you feel like the only way people are gonna want to be around you is if you do things for them. But there is a very thin line between someone who's insecure like that and is a people pleaser, and somebody who does things because it gives them the upper hand in the relationship. Be careful of somebody who wants to exert their superiority over you in the relationship by, I can do this, or I got that, or I'll do this, or I'll pick you up, or I'll do this. Like for me, I don't drive, so if someone offers to pick me up, I mean, I know how to drive, but I my days of driving, I spend my whole 20s in a car, and this is a lot of things. See, people don't ask me a lot of questions, and I don't volunteer a lot of information, but I have a lot of experiences, and again, something like offering to pick me up, that would be that's beneficial. But there's also that thing of some people may try to control the narrative and control the situation a lot. Be careful of people who want to control and who want to make you feel like you're less than, people who infantilize you a little bit, make you feel like you're a child in the situation type of thing. I think you guys get where I'm going. And that's another thing that a lot of black women, black women cannot relate to other black women just as equals. Sometimes someone's got to mother the other person, or someone's got to exert, well, I'm older and I know this or that, or I have more experience in this, that, or I have this and I have that and I have these things, which makes me more somehow in a better place in life than you, and now somehow I'm the one, I can give you advice, but God forbid I take advice from you about anything. God forbid I open up to you and trust you with my vulnerability, and trust that you can heal me or guide me or be a friend to me. You want friendships to be mutual. Don't get into these friendships with these demon possessed people who are just looking for their ego to be fed by whoever will hang around them. Be careful of that. And that's what I'm noticing. Like a lot of you black women, be careful of these of black women who don't have friends because of their character. There's black women who don't have friends. There's people who don't have friends because they're delusional. They're not living in reality. They're jealous people on the inside. They have no. They're narcissists, and they don't know how to relate to other people. And there's people who don't have friends because they're not gonna put up with nonsense. They can go out and make friends with perfect strangers easier than hanging around narcissistic Jezebel possessed people who are going to make them look bad in public. And this is what I find a lot in Chicago. A lot of black women, a lot of you sisters, you don't know how to make friends with another black. You don't know how to relate to another black woman. You're too busy seeking validation from men to know how to relate to another woman, and that's why black female friendships are strained, and that's why black women are not befriending black women no more. That's why black women is branching out and doing things by ourselves, because we're done black women, who with weak black women, traumatized black women, delusional black women, insecure, pick me. I'm all my validation is in the fact that I have a husband and have kids, black women trying to feed off of our strength as black women who are okay with being black women. We're okay with being black women. We're okay with the fact that we have not found a marriage yet, and we're taking our time, and we're not jumping into a marriage so we can be like, hey, my husband this and my husband that. We're okay with dating and the freedom we have until something is right for us. We're okay with having other responsibilities than raising babies. We're okay with our hair being kinky, and we know how to do our hair, and we don't relate to women off of sitting around gossiping in a hair salon. And yeah, relating off of hair is a great, it's a great way for black women to relate, but a lot of you black women, you don't want to talk about it. You won't talk about it. You want to, being friends with a black woman who's powerful is not enough. You have got to learn to open up and be vulnerable and talk about how you're feeling, what's going on, and why you even want to be friends with a woman who's spiritual and powerful and confident, when all your validation comes from your husband, or your lights, the fact that your skin is a couple shades lighter, or the fact that all your friends are alumni of this college you went to, yet you're finding that you're not really gaining anything from these friendships. You're finding that all these women are jealous of you and acting and putting on the superficial act, and now y'all want to, you want to hang out with real sisters, but you are not real women. So I'm warning real witches, real spiritual black women, start to think about, like, really get out of America, get out of these major cities, and don't let these weak women cling to you. There are a lot of women who their marriage is not surviving. They're not happy. They're going through a lot, and now all of a sudden they want to cling to black women who are strong, who really are independent, and we really have freedom. Be careful of that. Sisters with power, women of the craft. Peace, Shri Harsha Bandari. Feel free to ask questions. I'm gonna pull a card and do a reading in a minute. But sisters of the craft, be careful. You do not owe black women your friendship. You don't owe black women your friendship. It is a privilege. It is a privilege for black women to have access to women like us who are spiritual. I'm talking to my followers specifically. Women who are spiritual, women who are gifted, women who are pro-black. We don't owe other black women who are not assets to our race, who are not assets to men, who are not building up the black race, uplifting the black race, setting an example. We don't owe empty vessels anything, because we have filled our cups with substance. You don't owe anyone friendship. Sisters, be okay with going out on your own and meeting people, and a lot of these people may in fact be white. But I will say this: get involved with black owned business. Right now, black owned business is where you're going to meet black people who are too busy doing their business and being a black owned business and being an asset to the black race to try to make you jealous of what they have. Be careful of these unhappy black women who want to make friends. I'm letting you know. Black women, for your own health, it's okay to have more white female friends that you can genuinely go out with, joke with, laugh with, and talk about men as equals with. Talk about men as equals, where you know having a conversation about a man or a man coming around is not going to put a rift in between the friendship you're developing. And I'm letting you know right now, your friendship is not strong if men can come between it. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. Whether it's something as simple as your friend is dating somebody, and now all of a sudden she can't show up as a friend because she's dating, and all it's all about dating and everything. You were just a placeholder until she found the real relationship she wanted, which is that a man coming in your friend's life does not make her absentee as a friend. If anything, if your friend is dating a man and is in a healthy relationship, even if she's keeping it kind of hush hush, she should have more time and energy to cater to that friendship, because now she has a partner in life and she shouldn't be doing everything in life. And now she should have more time to be a better friend. That's what having a man should do. It should make her a better friend to you. If she's becoming a worse friend to you, you need to evaluate. A lot of black women are only friends, are only around, misery loves company. And the moment they get a whiff or a sniff of a possibility of being with a man, and a man, she's going to make that man the end all be all. Be careful of that. Be careful of sisters who, when you get a man, they start acting funny. And I'm letting you know right now, if you are dating somebody, if you're dating someone, your friend has no business sending that man a friend request. None whatsoever. And if you've broken up with somebody that your friends only knew through you dating him, your friend has no business being in contact with that man whatsoever. I'm letting you know right now. I'm letting you know right now. And if you have a friendship to where being with your friend's man or your friend's ex is more important, where your life could be better by being with her ex than it could be by being with her, then you need to accept that is not a friendship that you want. Accept that the friend be having a friendship and a relationship with her man or her ex is more important than that friend. And I need you to recognize this, ladies. Recognize when a female friend does not know how to be around men and maintain her womanhood. Pay attention to how the girlfriends you have around you, to how the women that you hang around, to the women that you call friends or best friends, to your sister and your mama and your auntie and your daughter. Pay attention to how these women act around you and then how they act around men. Your mother should not be flirting with your man, your boyfriend. Your daughter should not be flirting with your man, your boyfriend. You should not be flirting with your daughter's man and boyfriend. Your auntie should not be flirting with, you know what I'm saying, your man or your husband or your boyfriend. Do y'all get this? Because black women, y'all love to act like you don't get it. You love to keep toxic women around who act like your friend, and then the moment there's a man around who's giving you more attention than he's giving her, the moment something is there for you, she's ready to sabotage it. That includes your job. Stop having your female friends who are ready to sabotage everything that God is putting in place for you. I'm letting you know right now, black women, a lot of your blessings are blocked because of the Jezebel black females you have around you. And your inability to draw a fucking line between with how a woman behaves around you. If a woman is if you get along with a woman and then the moment a man comes around and is hanging around, she's ready to fight you or she's arguing with you, she don't like you. She's using you for your ability to attract men that she cannot attract on her own. And this is going to happen a lot with black women because black women don't have natural beauty. A lot of black women don't really know how to naturally be beautiful. And I mean this from the bottom of my heart. So if you're out here and you have can meet the beauty standards that white women can meet. I'm not talking about having blonde hair and having a straight hair texture. I'm talking about having long hair that's naturally yours. I'm talking about having a snatched body that you can fit less than a size 6 dress. Even size 6 is, like I'm talking about that you are attracting a certain caliber, a certain type of man in your femininity, meaning that you are not loud. You do not speak unless you're spoken to. That you let your eyes and your smile do the speaking. That you let your poise and your wardrobe do the speaking, and you are not always announcing yourself and throwing yourself. And some of you black women, why do y'all throw yourselves at men? If a man is not holding the door for you, don't tell him to hold the door for you. If a man is not walking you to your car, stop begging man, oh well, walk me to my car. If he's not doing it for you, don't make it his job to do. One, he probably already has a woman. He's not interested in you. If a man wants to walk a beautiful woman that he's attracted to the car, you ugly black women, stop interjecting yourselves into men and the women that they actually want. Stop taking it as an opportunity to make a man who does not want you acknowledge you while he's acknowledging a woman who's far more beautiful than you. And a lot of you black women, stop doing that. Learn how to be attractive, or accept the men that holler at you. Stop trying to interfere with men who are hollering at women who don't look like you, hollering at women who are taller than you, hollering at women who have a different body shape than you. Have a different body shape than you. Black women, if you see a man hollering at an obese woman, don't let him come holler at you if you're skinny. If what he prefers is obese women, let him holler at obese women. It's okay. If a man is hollering at a skinny woman, you obese women, stop trying to make your ass the subject matter. If a man prefers skinny women, let him prefer skinny women. Stop trying to interfere with what a man and what he wants. Why you black women do that so much? You think that every time a man goes and shows what type of woman he wants, that's your cue to come make him acknowledge you. I'm here like that. That's weird, and you black women do that a lot. You do that a lot. You put yourself in, you are you don't look as good as women, but you want to position yourself around beautiful women so you can interfere with the men who want beautiful women coming at the beautiful women. And I again, I don't let women do that to you, because really it's not a smart. Most of you black women do this. You do this a lot, and you don't do this with white girls, because white girls is not gonna be nice enough to hang out with you when you are overweight and you don't look as good as them and you don't know how to act in public and you're a little this that or whatever. You know what I'm saying? But you want beautiful black women to demean themselves by being seen around y'all in public who don't put as much into your looks or whatever y'all got going on. And it's not the way to go, sisters, because what you do is you put sisters like me in a weird position to where we don't want to offend you, you know what I'm saying? But it's like I'm gonna look like the bad person if I tell you as an uglier woman that you're out of line for your behavior. And a lot of you women, you know that the pretty woman's gonna be looked at as mean if we act the way y'all act around us. If we start interrupting every man that hollers at you and being like, hey, I'm right here, hey, I'm prettier, hey, look at me, I look more beautiful, even though you're talking to her. Let me come up and say, hey. If we as pretty women did what y'all ugly women do, you know that people are going to be like, oh, but you ugly women, you do it because you know everyone thinks that you guys have such great personalities. You guys get accused of having great personalities because you are ugly and you are less than average. And you the only way you attract men is being around beautiful women and injecting yourself in between the men that want to holler at us. And a lot of time it don't work because a lot of times I've had men, literally I've been around other women who were not doing this, by mind you. These were just other females I was hanging out with, and I've had men invite me out to an after party in front of them, order an Uber with just enough room for me and him in front of them, and I've had to tell that man, no, I'm sorry, I'm with them tonight. And that would be rude of me. So a lot of you women who intentionally hang around models because you think it's going to get you in the door with men who like models, honey, a man will act like you're not even there, and a man will take a model and take us out of that situation and act like you're not even there. It's not going to work in your favor. It's not going to work in your favor. And what I'm saying is, black women, be okay with the men who like you. Stop trying to get men who don't like women who look like you to like you. Deal with men who like black women. Deal with men who like the black women who look like you. If you got locks, deal with men who like locks. If you wear weave, deal with men who like weave. Stop trying to get men who like how your female friend looks to like you. Stop trying to convince men that what they like and what they prefer is not what they should want. Because you ugly black women do this a lot. You want to convince black men who have scoped out the room and decided that they want to holler at the woman who is actually the most beautiful without makeup, the woman who's actually the kindest, the woman that they actually see being nice to everyone. You get mad that a man scopes out the room and chooses the woman that he chooses, and you think that that's your cue to make him change his decision by being in his fucking face. And it's not going to work in your favor a lot of times. And I will say this, black men, stop letting ugly women come in between you and the type of woman that you want. Because a lot of you men, you end up married to these type of women because they were easy, because they did all the work, they threw themselves at you, and it was easy, and they said, hey, I know you want this beautiful model, but I'm less work and I'm easier, and I'll do whatever you want me to do, and I'll do this and that, and I'm gonna throw myself at you. So hey, if you want something a little easier, you know, because she needs validation from a man. You cannot be friends with a woman who needs validation from a man. And you can't be genuinely be friends with a woman who is not experienced up enough to know the value of a female friendship over, oh, you brought this man around me, let me shoot my shot at your man. Because now that you as my friend, you're bringing men around with your beauty, with your success, with your womanhood, with your self-development. You're attracting, you're drawing in men that I myself am not drawing in because I'm not developing as a woman. And so I'm gonna feed and vulture off of the men that you're bringing in. You can't be friends with a female like that. You have to be friends with women who are developed, who are really developing themselves and developing their womanhood, who do not need validation from a man. Women who need validation from a man, that's Jezebel. That's Jezebel. And that goes for men. I feel like I should do men in another subject, but men, be careful. Women who need validation from men have a lot of gay male friends, but they can't relate to actual women who bleed, who have a period, who deal with a male dominated society, who deal with racism, who deal with white supremacy. If a black woman is living in a delusion that she's a white girl and she's so great and she's Beyonce and she's surrounded by a bunch of men that worship her and a bunch of other women that worship her, you're gonna end up in an unhappy marriage like Beyonce. You a lot of I'm very disappointed in black women, and I'm very disappointed in how this Jezebel spirit. I'm very disappointed in how TikTok, how the sprinkle movement. I'm very disappointed in how influencers have made black women so delusional and superficial to the point where black women don't even want to just be themselves, that black women are putting on this act as if you are a privileged white girl who's just better than everyone else because you got a man to validate you, and because you're living you're living a soft life because you create this illusion and you create this delusion that you're just better than other women because you have so much at your disposal and so many things just fall into place for you, and you just don't have to lift a finger because your life is just so great and everything's just working out for you. Be careful of black women who are trying to present an image that their life is so great that you should be jealous of them, that you should want what they have. That's a Jezebel act. I'm letting you know right now. Black women have to work. Black women are working. Black women are um black women are working. They're doing a lot of work. They're working in their marriages. They're working at their jobs. Black women who want to convince and influence other people to follow them because their life is so great and their marriage is so great, and they're living a soft life because they got a husband. And I forgot to address these black women who get these white husbands, and that's what I was kind of on. Like, it's one thing when a lot of black women, like I said, kind of know when you marry a brother, it's like you know what I'm saying, I got a brother to marry me, and maybe he may be a little bit fine. Most of the time he's probably not, but it's just like, oh, I got a brother. But the way black women act when a white man marries them, and I'm talking about the ones who flaunt it. A lot of sisters, like I said, there's a lot of sisters out here who, after finding out how amazing they are, then all of a sudden you find out, wow, she's a wife and a mother too. That's awesome. But these black women who gotta flaunt their husband, flaunt their white husband, flaunt how they made it because they got a older white man as a sugar daddy to marry them, and now they're equal to white women. Now they're equal to these other black women who got picked and who are now living a soft life because a man validated you by marrying you. I'm so disappointed in the level of validation that black women are getting from men, because it's not our nature. It's not our nature as African women. It's not our nature, and it's not what black men love about black women. And I'm letting you know this because as someone who genuinely can relate to white women, and I relate to black women because I'm a black woman, but my grooming and my upbringing, I can genuinely relate better to white women in Chicago when it comes to a segregated city like Chicago. However, having said that, because I am skinnier, because I am educated, because I have had to meet higher standards of femininity and beauty, and I can achieve those standards, a lot of black men, I've noticed that I have a hard time relating to black men because black men, they like the African spirit in a woman. They like black women who have that African culture. It's not just a big ass. A lot of black men genuinely feel more comfortable dating a woman who acts like a slave mammy more than he does a woman who acts like a master or who comes from privilege. And I guess what I'm trying to say is, you black women, the way black women act when you're getting this validation from men and getting this validation from white men. But the reality of it is black women, um I black women like black men. And I think a lot of black women just get offended that black men don't like us. And I think that's okay, because if you know what black men don't like about black women, and if you know that a lot of black women who have an issue with black women specifically are suffering from self-hatred, they're suffering from a mental disorder, you're not going to worry about the black man's preference for a white woman, because that's a mental illness. Widely, a lot of black men feel safer dating black women. And so I guess what I'm trying to say is, a lot of black women is trying to put on this white girl act when you're better. You If you want a black man, you're better off just being your fat black self, because that's what most black men actually go after. And that's why fat white women go after black men, or find solace in the black community, because widely black men go after unattractive, obese, mammy women who want to sit around and get pregnant. It's a programming, but it's also innately, black men innately are not as responsive to weak women who, are not as responsive to narcissism. It's not African culture. African culture, women did rites of passage. So a black man is not going to be attracted solely to the fact that the black woman has a big ass, so much as having a big butt represents the fertility of the African woman. Being able to rites of passage, like he's looking at, can she braid hair, can she cook? Black men traditionally are not attracted to beauty. They're not attracted, black, and I don't know how else to say this. Traditionally, the African man is not really attracted to femininity. He's attracted to labor slave. He's attracted to a woman's labor. Can she breed? Can she cook? Can she clean? White men are attracted to beautiful women. Black men traditionally do not like beauty in a woman. He likes slave labor. And that is African culture. Beauty is not something that a lot of, when I'm talking about African culture, I'm talking about the West African slave trade and the type of black men we're dealing with post slavery. These men traditionally don't go after beauty. They don't like beauty. They resent beauty. They like slave labor in a woman. And so you black women are trying to act like white girls more so, when a white men don't like black women acting like white girls. They like real black women who have real femininity, or they like actual white girls. So black women, you acting like white girls, you're not really genuinely attracting anybody, but except men who need validation from you acting like this, and he needs validation by being with a woman that is a toy, being with a woman who acts like a child, that being with a woman he can manipulate and use to validate him, because validation needs validation. But real black men traditionally, and I'm letting you know from my experience, black men don't go after beauty. They go after the woman who will be the best slave. And and if you want a black man, you better off just being your fat black self. And I know that a lot of black women now that black men are passport bros, and now that black men are going after women of more substance and everything, you got to understand, but a lot of these black men, they're looking for women who they feel can do for them. Now a black man, now all of a sudden he wants to go after beauty and everything, because now he's been given permission to seek out, again, what white men can seek out, which is a beautiful woman, a trophy, a woman who has femininity. But again, I'm gonna let you know right now, a man who has enough money and enough masculinity to afford beauty, and to afford a man who does not need slave labor in his life, who can afford to keep a woman beautiful, this soft life that women talk about living, which is not realistic in indigenous culture at all. And it's not realistic in a monarchy, because in a monarchy, while you may be living a privileged life, you are working. You have way more responsibilities than a fucking peasant as a monarch. A lot of times it's not just, oh, sit around, be princess. Like, you have to marry the ugly guy and have his kid to keep the nation intact. You're more a servant to the peasants than the peasants are to you when you're in a monarchy. But poor people don't understand that. They just care about what they see in the movies. So at the end of the day, like I'm saying, you know, a man who can actually afford a woman who he can put up and keep up and pamper, where she doesn't have to be slave labor as a wife to him. These men don't have to leave America. They don't have to go travel to find the type of woman that they want. They can afford to find these women anywhere. They can afford to be decisive about wherever they go. They're going to holler at the most beautiful woman, and they know that women who know their worth, their physical attractiveness is just as valuable, sometimes unfortunately more valuable than anything else they got going on. But women who know our worth and our beauty, and women who are beautiful, we have to understand that we have to go where men like beautiful women. And we have to go where beauty is a standard for women, because beauty is not a standard in the black community for women. Beauty is not a standard in the black community. Beauty is not a standard in the black community. All right? So, beautiful women, we have to be in places where beauty is that standard. A man who can afford to keep a woman beautiful, a man who can afford a beautiful woman, and a man who can afford a feminine woman to keep her feminine. He does not have to get a passport and go find feminine women. They're going to be drawn to him. All he has to do is show up. And he can choose the feminine women who are feminine in how they present themselves, and feminine in the places that we go, where we know that masculinity, there's a high standard for masculinity, and we know that if we're at a certain place, we know that the men who holler at us are going to have that standard of they're buying that drink. They're buying the food. And sometimes you can be so beautiful that a man will buy your friend's food too. It's not something you have to coerce. Like, most of the time, men who have been genuinely interested in me and have hollered at me and have been genuinely interested, and who are they've always bought my friend a drink too, or they bought my friend a meal too. But again, another reason why beautiful women, it's sometimes it's better for us to hang out by ourselves, because we can get further by ourselves than we can being around women who are not able to attract resources the way we can attract resources, namely men who spend money, who invest in beauty. Black men don't invest in beauty. Black men want slave labor. Black men value slave labor in a woman. I'm not going to stress that enough or anymore. One of my biggest uploads that I've made the most money off of in YouTube was my upload that I did maybe going on like 5 years ago about why black men hate pretty women and prefer ugly women. I think that's the title of it. Maybe I will post the link below. But I guess all I'm trying to say is that, sisters, stop trying to act like a white girl to attract, to have the upper hand on other black women, to try and relate to black women from a sense of narcissistic authority, to try and relate to try and develop black female friendships off the premise of black women worship me, I'm so great, be my friend. Stop trying to develop female friendships off the premise of, okay, I'm gonna use this female who's powerful to attract resources to me, even though I really am jealous of her, and I really resent the fact that she has the beauty that I don't have. And it starts from the inside. There are so many women who Their competence makes them beautiful. Their competence. And if you're a confident woman, you have no business befriending a woman who is not competent. Because she's going to use you to attract men, and then she's going to try and fight you the moment that the men that she wants prefer you instead of her. Um, Anything else about the Jezebel spirit? Um, the Jezebel spirit also, so again, I hope I presented some of the problems, some of the solutions. My main solution is recognizing this and investing in friendships with Black entrepreneurs, Black business owners, investing in friendships with Black people in entertainment, because now we have a lot of, for example, in Chicago, there's a lot of Black TV shows and movies and things that are being filmed right here. And so there's more opportunities now for Black people to flourish. And Black people are making more opportunities, especially in the food and beverage. I can't tell you how many Black owned restaurants are opening up, how many Black owned liquor, wine, spirits, beers. Invest in meeting and networking. That's a solution to where you're going to start to meet Black people who are of caliber, who are of a solution, who are too busy doing creating solutions for the Black race to be bothered with this nonsense, and to be swept up into this narcissism that social media influences people to take on. um Carry your crystals around hidden. Wear your crystals underneath in your pockets, in your bra if they can fit, or maybe in your shoe somehow, or in your sock, depending. Don't make yourself uncomfortable. Don't get a pinched nerve or something trying to wear a crystal somewhere. But make sure your crystals are covered up, or keep them on you, so people who have bad intentions cannot get access to you. So there's going to be some type of allergic reaction to where you will not let a parasite into your life who's trying to disguise themselves as a friend. Keep sage, pray over yourself, ring your bell, be at your altar every morning and every night. Start using your blue colored candles for intuition. Lighter blue is going to give you more, is going to more activate your third eye chakra. Darker blues like navy, like medium blue like a chlorine blue, or like a ocean blue or sea blue, that's going to connect you to empathy. That's going to make you feel emotions and connect you to the empathy that allows you to kind of feel what other people feel, which can give you the upper hand, and which can give you insight on a person's motives too. That darker blue, the darker blues like the real deep navy blue and dark blue, that's going to create justice. That's going to help play a role in justice, especially when combined with silver, gold, or darker purple. So dark blue is going to give you more insight on what is the right move to make, what is the fair thing to do, what is the just thing to do. And dark blue is going to give you insight too on self-correction. Is there something that I solve this problem by changing something within myself instead of trying to control someone else? Darkest dark blue is going to help you maintain balance. So remember those things. For pure psychic power, you're gonna do the lightest blue, the lightest pale blue, like an indigo, and definitely mix it with silver and jasmine, just for pure psychic power. But again, for third eye chakra activation, light blue, sea blue, or just bold blue for empathy, and then dark blue for justice. Um, so that's the use of blue in your spell work and your candle work. is really going to give you insight on other people's intentions, and it's going to give you insight on if you're hosting any jealousy, if you're hosting any unclean spirits, and if you're hosting any hostility. It's going to help you cleanse and wash away the way water does, the way salt water does. Yeah, my yeah. It's going to help you cleanse and wash away negativity, and that'll be within you, that's attracting things, and it's going to help you cleanse to where anything that's not holy and divine is not going to be able to permeate your aura. So these are the spiritual solutions. You have got to keep your spiritual rituals up every day, every night. You have got to keep your full moon rituals and your new moon rituals, especially with these blue candles, to awaken your empathy and your intuition to know. Don't deny and reject your intuition. That's what protects you. Your intuition is what protects you. Red works on your instincts, the more masculine principles of taking action with what you feel and what you know. That's what red is for, and pink. But the blues are for to receive the empathy, to receive the emotions, to receive the insight. So you have that wisdom. And that's what we want. We want wisdom to know what to keep and what to let go of, what to invest in. Wisdom to know, do we need to start healing ourselves or healing our female friendships, or do we need to recognize that there's jealousy, there's demonic activity, and I need to go in another direction. Empathy is going to help with your friendships. It's going to help you recognize, what can I really do to be a friend to a black woman? How can I take my narcissism and myself and what I want from a friendship out? And how can I show up and really be a friend to a sister? How can I show sisterhood and elevating black women? How am I elevating black women? How am I confident as a black woman? And how am I showing up for other black women? And blue is going to help a lot of you sisters recognize your insecurity, recognize your fear, recognize your jealousy. It's going to help you recognize how dependent you are on a man to validate your worth as a woman. And it's going to help you relate to other women and recognize that the reason you may not be having genuine female friendships is because you are what they call a pick me. You, all of your validation comes from being a mother, being a wife, you know, what your job is. And really, and here's the kicker, some of you black women, all of your validation comes from white people accepting you. And that's why you're not going to be able to have genuine connections to other black women who don't have a problem with black men, who don't have a problem with dating black men, who haven't been, abused by every black man they're with, who don't think that white men are so much better than black men because they have more money and they treat you better. You're going to have a problem relating to real sisters who don't hold every black man accountable for what one or two or three did. You're going to have a hard time relating to black women who don't hold every black man accountable for the fact that her father wasn't around and this and that, and she needs a sugar daddy to make her feel safe because her father didn't do his job. You know what I'm saying? You're not, you black women who all your validation comes from white people accepting you and white men dating you, and the fact that you were called a white girl or related to a white girl, or someone called you light skin or whatever, even though you're obviously brown skin. And like, I don't have you black women who need validation from men and who need validation from white people. You all really need to hear this, because you don't understand how important friendship is. As you age, you think your kids are going to be there, you think your husband and all these things. And at the end of the day, if you're that superficial and everyone loves you because you're acting like you're Beyonce, as you age, you want people who know you and who really love you regardless of your flaws. And if you don't start opening up and being vulnerable, if you stop acting like you're better than other black women, and if you don't start opening up and being vulnerable and having real conversations and getting to know people and developing bonds based on vulnerability, based on mutual experiences, not based on trauma, and not based on Are we jealous of each other? And are we, are we being superficial? And are we both narcissists? Don't bonding over being a narcissist is worse than bonding over trauma. And trauma bonds will keep you in your living your trauma and for the rest of your life with your traumatized friend. But at the end of the day, it's worse to bond over narcissism, because what's going to happen is you're not going to relate to anyone in the real world. You're only going to relate to everyone else on TikTok being narcissistic. And um you know, when Jezebel is done with you, when you're too old or too tired or too, when that spirit has chewed you up and spit you out, you're gonna have to start over in life. And you don't want to be 60, 70, 80 starting over because you lived a life of narcissism. And I see it. I see it. Do not live a life of narcissism and let these unclean spirits run you through, and you look up and you don't have healthy relationships in your old age. And I'm telling you right now, people are not going to tell you, they're not going to talk about it. And a lot of older people who are 60, 70, 80, some of them still look good, still going, but some of them are still single. Some of them are still child free, and that's fine. But a lot of them are not they're not even taking the fact that they're now old enough to help the younger people make better decisions. They're still living in their narcissism where they're trying to convince you to live in a certain way. That is not healthy. And I genuinely, honestly, Black women, I want you all to genuinely, honestly have the marriages you deserve and have the relationships you deserve. But it does not have to validate who you are. But you deserve it. And don't keep listening and dealing with these unclean spirits and these demon possessed people who are going to convince you to where you're living your life without getting the things that are important, which is healthy relationships with other Black people who are healthy, and eating healthy, and doing what you love to do. And a lot of times the most fulfillment you're going to get is helping other people and helping animals. It is not a narcissistic, I'm the CEO of this and I'm the CEO of that. It's going to be when you actually go out and you work with people and you help people and you heal people and you see what work you've done has made someone else's life better that day or made their moment better. That's a fulfilling job that you won't get tired of doing. Don't be afraid to live a life that simply makes you happy and healthy. Stop the narcissism. It fades. It fades. And when you're done trying to make sure everyone's jealous of what you have that you got, just for validation, when it's all said and done, you will have pushed away the genuine people who you could have been learning from, who you could have got healing from, who you could have opened up to, who would have been there for you. Do not let Jezebel ruin your life, Black women. I don't know how else to say it. But at this time, as it's been 2 hours, did not think I was going to be talking this long, but I didn't really get any questions. So I'm going to pull a card and see what the reading of the day is, and I'm going to get on with my day. Let's see. We got, what is this? Ooh. 10 of Hearts. Okay. First thing I'm thinking with this card is spa day, spa treatment. This card is going to be dealing with, I was talking about the healing, cleansing properties of water and blue. This card deals with being content, dealing with reaching a final destination, or kind of having achieved a goal that gives you emotional fulfillment, and that gives you rest and relaxation. You're in an environment almost like a paradise, but this environment is also kind of secluded. It's hidden, and it's protected from other people who have not achieved that same level. So it's a place where you've achieved, you've matured, and you can relax and live in your wealth. and live in that emotional fulfillment. And this is also emotional security. So again, I'm thinking spa day, self-love day, self-care day. Someone is a massage therapist or works at a spa. And again, if this resonates, please comment now or comment when you do watch this video to let me know if it resonated. Or again, contact me. Someone works at a spa, you're a receptionist, a massage therapist, or something. You do something at a spa. Could even be maintenance or housekeeping. And I feel like what you're thinking about changing your career, or you're thinking about starting your own business with what you do at the spa, starting your own massage business, starting your own cleaning treatment, or your own health and wellness ambiance, like maybe creating atmospheres for couples or for people. If you're a Black woman who's thinking about starting a spa business that's about rest and relaxation for Black women, definitely do it. Be smart about it. Again, start going to business classes. There's a Black woman who you need to, in your local community or your city or your township, you need to go ahead and open your rest and relaxation. And I feel like you want it to be for Black women, or you want it to be for a certain demographic of women, or a certain demographic of couples, maybe people who have been injured or are handicapped. Or you want it to be for a certain demographic of women who served in war. I don't know. Definitely do it. But in align with this whole upload, and the message I'm getting is, I don't know, maybe that the woman who served in war thing, the message is careful for that female who's around you who's kind of negative, or careful of that female who is injured, who is draining you of your healing, to where you're focused on healing her instead of starting your business that's going to heal multiple people. And I don't know if she had an injury, if she's in the military or if she enlisted. I see like an Iraqi army fatigues, Americans in Iraq army fatigues. So if that resonates, let me know. But to anyone else who's watching, just be careful of females who are feeding off of your energy and your success. Females who are draining you emotionally, to where every time you're in a content place or you're doing a self-care, here comes your female friend calling with a problem. Oh, someone died, or her car broke down, or this bill is due, or her child is sick or acting, be careful of that woman who, every time you're ready to relax and do your self-care or focus on your business, someone's calling with a problem. Do not be a counselor to someone who has a mental disorder. And a mental disorder shows up a lot in someone every week, every month, every couple weeks. They have a problem, they have an accident, someone died, someone this, someone that. That's a mental disorder. Problems don't pile up in that way. People have enough problems paying bills. So if you're starting your business, or if you're moving into a place where you're going to be on your honeymoon, you're having like your opening reception of your art gallery, or your grand opening of your business is happening, or whatever you're accomplishing, that's going to put you in an emotional state where you're going to be celebrating, you're going to be content, you finally achieved this, to where you can celebrate with a party, with a celebration. Don't let this single white female energy, meaning, that a parasitic woman who wants to be you, who is trying to feed off of your life and live vicariously through you, don't let her come around with her sob story during your celebration. It could be even a birthday coming up. A birthday that's coming up, where your birthday's around Christmas or around New Year's, or your birthday's going to be on the same day of your release party. You're throwing your birthday party the same day that you're doing some type of business grand opening or release, album release, whatever. I hope this resonates with someone. It is snowing out here, so again, this is This card deals with a place of moisture, a place that's content, a place where you feel relaxed, but a place that's kind of moist. So that's why I talked about spa. It could even be, you could be in a log cabin and during winter with the snow, but you're nice and cozy inside and warm. Do not keep any snakes in your grass. I don't know how else to say this. Get rid of any snakes on your grass. Do not have people hosting negative energy, people hosting turmoil. Anyone who has the misery loves company energy, do not invite them. Do not answer the phone call. Do not let them know where you are taking your vacation at. Maybe don't even let them know who you're with. Don't let them know, because that person, the snake in the grass, is going to come try to ruin and feed off of your rest and relaxation. So Black women, get on your retreat, do your rest and relaxation, get with your blue candles, your blue colors, do your meditations, start to reveal and let your psychic energy and your intuition reveal snakes in the grass. Do exorcism, pray that your friends do not host a Jezebel spirit so you can have healthy relationships, and just pray that anyone who is not meant to be in your life is eliminated or exits or falls away, so you can be clear on the new people and the new resources that are meant to come in, that are going to make you a better woman, not make you a weak Jezebel possessed woman who's just full of narcissism and envy. All right. Peace, everyone. Peace and love. And I will be doing some more readings. I'll try and do these more regular. But you gotta ask some questions, or I'll just start answering the questions I get on my website. All right. Happy Friday, TGIF. Listen, learn, like, subscribe, and follow me on IG at the Black High Priestess. Check out my Etsy shop. I do have some Black Rose exorcism that I just made for a client, so I have a couple more for purchase. So get them while they're hot. Peace and love.